Hi, and welcome back to day 5 of the 12 days of Christmas, surviving the stress, eating, and drinking through the holidays. We've been talking a lot about stress so far, and today we're going to turn to eating, and we're going to turn to the topic of sugar. And of course, eating can create stress as well. So I don't want you to forget any of the stress talk that we've had so far, and we don't want to be adding to it through eating. There's digestive stress. There's just simply the stress of what do I eat, what don't I eat. And our topic today, as I said, is sugar. And that is try to avoid it as much as you can, knowing that it's the holiday season and knowing that you want to celebrate. It's definitely the 20%, 80% rule. Eat really well 80% of the time and enjoy the 20% of the time for special celebrations, etc. But even within those, there's choices that you can be making, and there's also Christmas baking. So if you're doing the baking, then you can control the sugar, the types of sugar, the amounts of sugar, etc. that go into it. And why is sugar such a problem? Sugar is a huge problem for many reasons. One of them is that it is so addictive and it causes huge insulin spikes in our system. And insulin is trying to balance our blood sugar. We need sugar. We need that for energy. Our brain converts the glucose, etc., into energy for us. But when we have too much in our body, we can't get rid of it. It goes to our brain, it goes to our muscles, and it goes to our cells. But when there's just too much, then it ends up being stored as fat, and particularly around our middle, which is another place we gain weight under stress. So the combination of stress and sugar creates that inner tube around our middle that many people don't like and want to get rid of. And so what else is sugar doing to us physiologically? It's causing a roller coaster ride. So what happens is we reach for sugar out of habit, but also because our brain is telling us we need energy. Perhaps we didn't sleep well the night before. And so we start our day with some sugar to make us feel better. And we burn through it very quickly because there is no fiber in sugary products. And so we feel that energy quickly and we feel good for a while. And it's like a roller coaster ride. So after having the sugar, we go up to the peak. And then when it wears off, we go back down the other way and we crash. And we've all experienced that. That's that feeling of, I just can't keep my eyes open. I'm tired. I have no energy. And so that's when we will often reach for another cup of coffee or another sugary treat to take us back up to that top where we feel good and we have energy. The problem is that when we do that all day long, day in and day out, it is creating diabetics and diabetes in us and more diabetics on the planet because we build insulin resistance. And so diabetes then triggers other diseases as well, such as heart disease, and leads to its own myriad of problems. But what we want to be avoiding is even getting to that state. And how do we do that? We really need to be aware of where sugars are getting into our diet and making alternative choices. So sodas and sugary drinks like Gatorades, those energy drinks, they are full of sugar. Avoid them. Our body doesn't actually need them. You can make better homemade energy drinks than buying the sugary ones. If you have to buy the sugary ones, then dilute them by half, even 75%, so that you're not getting as much of a sugar hit and you're balancing out with water, which obviously doesn't spike your insulin. And then in terms of foods, when you're making foods, choose more natural sugars. You could, instead of just white table sugar, you can sweeten things with honey, you can sweeten things with maple syrup. You can also look at something called monk fruit extract, which is, you can buy it in a liquid or a powder form. It's actually 300 times sweeter than sugar, so you don't need very much at all, but it doesn't spike insulin. There's 50 different names of sugars, and it's very hard, even as a discerning consumer, to be reading labels and figuring out if there's sugars in something, but it's a pretty good guess that all processed foods have some kind of sugar in them. That's your salad dressings, your all sorts of sauces, ketchup, I think mustard may be one that actually doesn't. Some mustards, maybe some do have sugar, but I have mustard that doesn't have sugar in it. You can find that. So making things from scratch helps you avoid sugars. You can make wonderful salsas and things from home, and I'm making delicious salad dressings. There's all sorts of things that you can do to avoid those sneaky sugars. I do run a 90-day coaching program that really helps people understand where sneaky sugars are getting into their diet and helping them eliminate that. If sugar is a real concern for you and you would like some help with that, then please reach out. But for now, today's message is just to watch out for sugars, watch out for those insulin spikes, and maybe even just start to take note of your own body and how you feel during the day and become aware of that low energy and what you're doing to counter it. And maybe reaching for coffee or a muffin or a chocolate bar isn't your best option. And instead reaching for something that has a good fat content, something maybe that's got made with coconut oil or an avocado or some nuts that will make you feel satiated, to give you a different kind of energy and not spike your insulin, could be something that you introduce into your diet for the month of December, so that you're not having sugars all day long during the day. And then if you are out in the evening socializing and there's desserts and you want to try some, that you haven't had all that sugar intake during the day, and so you can enjoy the celebration and the dessert in the evening. Another thing that you can consider in the evening, if you are trying desserts, that is just to have 3 bites. And that's not 3 bites of each bite is as big as much as you can get in your mouth, but it's 3 bites that you would be willing to be seen eating on public television. So, dainty, smaller amounts that allow you to savor the taste and be really mindful about that and enjoy it without eating the whole piece of cake or tart or pie or whatever it is that you're enjoying. So those are some tips for managing sugar, and also some greater understanding on what it's doing to you. And thank you for joining me today, and I look forward to seeing you back here tomorrow for day 6. Bye.